I think the guy even commented, if I remember correctly, like, hey, I don't know what any of this is, but good luck to y'all.
Incredible story today from Kevin Kisner about the United States Ryder Cup team group chat. Bryson DeChambeau. We get into all of it because of the latest comments from LIV Golf. We have a LIV Golf event this week, so everybody's kind of answering the bell on the latest storylines coming out of LIV and much more. We talk about our own games. Nelly Korda going a little bit viral. We got Rory McIlroy saying he's more confident and's got more motivation than he's ever had. So fantastic show today, a week before the next major championship. All brought to you by Chevy, the Equinox, the bow ties. Chevy Equinox is your do-it-all, go-anywhere SUV, and they provide the opportunity for us to do this lovely show today, gentlemen.
Chevy Equinox, they are there for us on the road. Make sure you go check out your local Chevy dealership near you because these things are beautiful. They are getting you from point A to point B in style and luxury. I mean, you get inside one of these cars, you hear Chevrolet, you think American, rugged, those commercials going over the rocks by a creek. And you get in a Chevy Equinox, and it's the future. Nice, beautiful interior, screens everywhere. It's just super, super nice. So loving what I'm seeing out of Chevy, loving the fact that they've been with us for so many years. Proud partners of this show, presenting partner of this show, and Chevrolet, forever and always.
Bold, athletic, confident style. That's what we love about the Equinox. It looks just as good at the course as it does off the map. You see these things driving down the road. You love it. You know it. You see it. You can't believe, of course, it's Chevy. It's married with that iconic American bow tie and logo in creating quality, fantastic American vehicles for 100 years plus. So we love it. We love that they sponsor this show and allow us, again, this opportunity to talk golf twice a week and support everything that we do throughout the entire year. The Equinox has cargo space, hidden storage under the rear floor, so make sure you go check it out. Also, big touchscreen display puts your music, maps, and tech front and center. Let's get into it. Chevy Equinox is your do-it-all, go-anywhere SUV. Foreplay, presented by Barstool Sports. We are back. It is... We've got a little Quail Hollow action this week. Rory McIlroy is the favorite. So we got a little bit of PGA Tour golf to talk about, but a lot of the headlines are LIV Golf action. LIV is back this week. They're in Virginia. So perfect timing. Everybody that's on the LIV circuit has been answering questions, doing press conferences. So we got much to get to on that front. But hello, everyone. How is everybody? How's everybody feeling? We got Kevin Kisner, we got Trent Ryan, we got Frankie Borelli the third, and we got Ryan Richardson on the ones and twos. But hello, boys.
How's it going, Kiz? You're just you're a clip machine, man. An absolute clip machine. Every podcast, you got some sort of story that just makes waves.
I know. I was just negotiating my next deal with Ryan Richardson, waiting on y'all to come on the pod, and the numbers are getting outrageous by him just showing me my clips going viral.
I jumped into it. So we had a meeting, and it was just Riggs, Trent, and myself. I'm not sure why Kevin Kisner doesn't get invited to these things. I think I might be on Brendan Jones, but at the end of the day, he was sitting here for 20 minutes waiting for us, and then I hopped in before you guys, and Kiz goes, and that's why I deserve $2 million. Oh, hey, Frankie.
The funny thing is Kiz doesn't know about the clips, how viral they go, until we tell him about it. Like, we were at Shinnecock, and I was like, hey, man, that Nelly Korda clip did really well. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, the one about you playing with her, she's the best golfer you've ever seen. And then you were kind of like, I don't care. You were just, and you like hit your next shot. So we are feeding him his own leverage points in his next contract.
We're idiots.
Right. We're stupid. That's basically what it comes down to. Is we're like, nah, it's fine. Like, you're doing okay, I guess. You're a good fourth chair. Not a big deal, Kiz.
Yeah, you're not very good at this, but keep your head up. Maybe by the end of the year, you'll be better.
Has Phil commented on that story yet on any of the socials?
Not that I've seen.
I
mean, it's 100% truth, so there's nothing to comment other than, yes, that's correct.
I don't know. How active is he these days there's definitely been stretches for him where he's very active, right? Commenting on everything, making fireside videos, like being very into the social media thing. But I don't know how active he is on those anymore.
Just one day ago, he tweeted, no more oil from the Middle East, skyrocketing gas prices, highest gas tax. I mean, it's just...
He's got other priorities, I would say. Okay.
I do think he's decently active. The main reason I ask is I remember when the Jake Owens story went really viral, and he responded to it and was like, "True story, thumbs up," or something like that. And I think he had like another comment. So I wasn't sure if he was kind of getting into the whole thing and going to respond to it. But I know that he's been he kind of had a wild day yesterday without him doing anything on social media, where the PGA Championship announced the field for the PGA. He was in it, and then it was like immediately announced that he like withdrew from the PGA Championship within like an hour, and Max Homa got in. So he was garnering some headlines even without doing anything.
Yeah, I think he was busy yesterday responding to everyone asking if he was playing in the PGA to validate my President's Cup story from 9 years ago.
That's exactly right. That was 9 years ago. That's insane to think about. Let's get into some headlines, gentlemen. We've got first on the administrative front, our Shangri-La video should be out today. Our first video with the entire gang. I know we've kind of talked about it a few different times, but great getting Lurch, Francis, Jersey Jerry in there with the three of us in Monkey Island, Oklahoma. We did a 3 versus 3 scramble. It was quite the battle, a lot of funny moments, and just a beautiful spot that I don't think a lot of people know about. So they should go check that out on our YouTube, boys.
Yeah, phenomenal trip. Really great vibes. This is it's just a good crew. Obviously, would love to have Kevin Kisner join that crew one day. Just like all those big personalities, and a lot of drinks, a lot of food, a lot of having fun. Great resort in the middle of absolutely nowhere, like you said, Monkey Island, Oklahoma. It's like playing a Mad Lib game. And yeah, it's just it's a really, really good video. I'm really happy of how it turned out, and good competition. The teams kind of work out the right way. We did 3v3 and then we did 2v2v2 the next day. So yeah, go check it out on the YouTube channel. I believe we're giving away something from TaylorMade in one of those videos, so make sure you keep an eye out for that, and yeah, go check it out.
Go check it out. Vibes we're phenomenal, and the place is really cool. So it's a little bit of a you get a bonus there with, like, you're gonna love the resort. You're gonna love a lot of the stuff even off the course. There's a lot of action going on. Seeing this place for the first time for most of you, I think you're gonna enjoy the hell out of it. So check that bad boy out on YouTube. And then next week we're gonna be at the PGA Championship. That comes up very fast, but a reminder, we do have PGA Championship merchandise on our site, and then I believe we will have it on site next week in the PGA Championship merchandise shop as well. This keeps coming up fast, man. Major championship season. It's every month from here for the next 3 months. Obviously, we were just at US Open, the US Open venue, Shinnecock Hills this week. But Around Mink next week for the PGA Championship. We've got our hole-in-one event on Wednesday night, which is just a banger of an event. That thing sold out. I think it was really nice for people to see sort of proof of concept. I don't know if anyone's ever done like a social hole. Let's try to get a hole-in-one as a group event before in history, and we fired the first one off at the Players Championship. It was awesome. Our team and Ryan Edwards and their team did an insane job with the build out of just kind of like how cool it was to be there on site, hitting shots into that par 3 at the Yards. We're going to be doing that again next Wednesday. Again, it did sell out, but people will be looking for footage from that, and then we'll be on site at the PGA Championship for a few days next week. We'll be rolling around there. I've never been to Around Mink. I love Donald Ross. I love Donald Ross courses, and this one's got a lot of history, Philadelphia area, and the logo's cool. We worked with the merchandise team again on that front to make sure we nailed a bunch of the gear from. There's gonna be all kinds of gear that you can get, so just make sure you check that out in the merchandise shop.
I could have this wrong, but are there spectator tickets still available for the hole-in-one?
There are, yeah. I was actually just looking for that. I can't find the link. I don't know where they have to go for that, but there are spectator links still available.
So if you just want to come hang out, drink, eat, Sun Cruisers, the whole deal, except hitting shots. You want to come hang out and you're going to be in the area, do that.
Yep. There's been whispers too. I think it's a great live events Lisa idea of all the spectators. We're going to throw all the spectator ticket holders into a hat, pull a name, and one of those folks gets to take a minute trying to get a hole-in-one as well. Yeah. With our luck, no one's ever going to get one. But if it was going to be one person, if it were going to be one person, let it be one of the spectator folks who we pull out of a hat and then they step up and dunk one. We need an ace on any channel. Any channel. It doesn't really matter at this point. We're looking for an ace. We're looking for that juice. I think that's going to open the floodgates at some point. So yeah, excited to get up to Philly next week. And again, you can go check out Is it on Eventbrite? Is that our link for the hole-in-one challenge? I'm not exactly sure what the link is. We'll find it, say it. But go check out the spectator tickets. I think you can just find it on our socials. It's going to be a great time. So I'm excited to get up to Philadelphia.
What's the prize for winning if you make a hole-in-one?
You get 10 grand. 10 grand.
Unlimited amount of people can make it too. 10 people make it, it's $100,000.
Wow.
Out of our pocket because kids, so we were, I know that folks, events do this hole-in-one insurance situation. So that's what we originally did. But I think we paid in hole-in-one insurance for the first event. I think we paid like $7 grand and for hole-in-one insurance. Obviously nobody got it. But what you learn with the hole-in-one insurance is that like there's a bunch of stipulations. The whole location like can't be in an area where there are certain slopes to certain degrees within certain feet of the hole. So at the yards, there was like a knockdown, drag out battle with the hole-in-one insurance guy about the pin location. He wanted to put it on the back left over on top of a ridge into like a 30-mile-an-hour wind with water everywhere. We're like, no, put that motherfucker in the front left bowl. And so we decided now to scrap it. We're scrapping the insurance situation and we're just going to pay it. So, of course, our luck last month, 0 hole-in-ones. I'm sure at Philadelphia, all of a sudden, there'll be like 5 hole-in-ones and we'll be out 50 grand. But if that's the case, that's the case.
You're willing to take that risk, and there's no doubt there'll be a hole-in-one at Philly after you idiots cancel that insurance policy and don't shop it around the Hall of America. Now we're going to have all these insurance companies hitting us up after this podcast like, oh, I'll do it for better than that. I can do it cheaper. So just get ready for that influx of emails. I ran a hole-in-one contest at my Back Nine location, the simulator franchises I'm a part of, and it was just like $10 a shot. Come in, open house type of deal. And, man, I had to correspond with this insurance company on hole-in-one for a month leading up to it. Like, it has to be this distance. It's got to be here. How about at this golf hole? I said, how about just go fuck yourself? I'm going to do it. I'm going to pay the premium, and you're going to pay it if somebody makes a hole-in-one. End of story.
That's sort of where we were at.
It's their job is to hope that there is no hole-in-one, right? Which is just makes you feel bad going in. Like, we didn't realize that until we got to the property at the yards where like this guy's job is to put it in a spot that makes it as hard as possible to go in. We're like, never again. And we ended up fighting them so hard that they did put it in the bowl. So there was like a backstop. Balls were filtering towards the hole. He ended up like realizing that we really wanted a hole-in-one that day. And he was a big fan of the brand. So I think that he took the risk at the end of the day because he could have put it in the top right. He put it down in the front part of the green and someone came 3 inches from it. So there definitely was a chance at the yards. There's no doubt about that. But I do think there'll be a better chance here in Philly because it's our decision and we're idiots and we're probably going to put it in the spot that's like, it would be hard to not make it. You know what I mean? Like, we're just so stupid. There's going to be 4 hole-in-ones.
This guy was like he was the Grinch at Christmas, dude. He was walking around this event. Yeah. Just looking, poking, prodding. He's like, I think that's in a bad spot. We got to move this tee. The angle here should go back 5 yards. We're like, brother, get the hell out of here. He's like, he's trying to break lights in people's backswing. You know, he's just rooting for anything other than a hole-in-one. And you've got like 200 people around begging for a hole-in-one, going crazy for it. So we had to get the Grinch out of there. I'm sure you're right, kids. We'll probably get like 5 now that we're paying for it out of pocket. But if that's the case and we're out $50K, it'll be worth it. It'd be an electric scene. And we're going to get one this year. You know what I mean? We're going to get a hole-in-one this year. It's also, dude, the hole-in-one event that we do is tough. With that clock ticking down, like people start swinging pretty quickly at first just because you're like, I need to get in as many as I can. Then they kind of slow it down and find their groove. And the next thing you know, it kind of comes up pretty quickly. But we had some really close calls. It was it like the second or third guy that hit that 1 to 3 inches? First guy.
He hit the rocks over the water, bounced up, went to 3 inches.
Off the rocks?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
We all looked at each other like, uh-oh, this is going to be too easy.
The first guy. I thought we were in trouble. All right, moving on. Let's get into the latest with LIV Golf. So LIV this week is, with all of the hoopla over the last couple weeks, Louisiana, and then pulling out of the Louisiana event that I believe is next month. And then I think it was like the governor and the government of Louisiana released a statement. They're pissed, by the way, because I didn't really realize that like LIV is supposed to be paying X of millions of dollars total to host this event in Louisiana. Let's say it's like $5 million. That was the agreement that that Louisiana came to, and they had only paid like 3 maybe out of the 5 or something around there. And then if you look at the statement that the government of Louisiana put out on the postponement of the LIV event, it was like the first paragraph was just praising the PGA Tour, and it was all time. It was like, just first of all, it was like statement on LIV Golf event, first paragraph. First, we'd like to start out by just saying it's been such a pleasure partnering with the PGA Tour. Having the Zurich Classic last week was a real treat for everyone that's a Louisiana, and they just went on and they're like, oh, by the way, on the LIV front, we're trying to figure it out. Pretty tough. We're hoping that we could kind of get it figured out. But long story short, with all the back and forth, PIF pulling out and announcing after 2026 that they will no longer be funding LIV. Yasser Al-Rumayyan stepping down as the chairman of LIV. With all that going on, they're back this week. They're just playing golf in Virginia, and everybody pretty much was doing press conferences. I'm going to start with Bryson DeChambeau. Bryson DeChambeau has had some all-time comments over the last night. He was at the White House during the day, and then he went over to the event and was answering questions. When asked when he found out about the PIF's decision, he said, same day as everybody else. I don't know. It was quite quick. He said when he found out, his immediate reaction was, there's no way. That's frickin' impossible, considering what I'd heard a couple months earlier. I thought there was a plan through 2032. It was a flip of the switch. I wish the PIF the best of luck. I just wish they would have stayed a little longer, because we're really close on the team side for every team being profitable. And then the big quote that's getting called out by everybody, I think from my perspective, I'd like to grow my YouTube channel 3 times, maybe even more. I'd love to do a bunch of dubbing in different languages, giving the world more reasons to watch YouTube. And then I'd love to play tournaments that want. So a couple pointed comments. I have more from Bryson, but just starting off with those, there's this weird reaction, I think, that you have of like, when these guys went and everybody went, it's hard to put yourself back there 4 or 5 years ago, but it was hated when they went. It was like, you are sports washing. You are basically defending 9/11 if you go, is what like a lot of the narratives and how much vitriol was towards these guys. And you're going just for the money, but you're saying that, you're going to grow the game, which is the Grant McDowell comment that he had yesterday as well. And so you got all this money, just taking money and like turning your back on the PGA Tour, and people were very mad at them. Now it's sort of like come around quite a bit, I would say, since then, where you've got Bryson is a great example of like, I think people look at Bryson and are like, this was actually the right move for Bryson. He seems like he's in a better place now. He seems like he's happier. He's got his team that he gets to play with. He's got YouTube. He's become a big-time fan favorite, whereas he was a little bit kind of looked at as like an outcast by a lot of fans for a while. He had the Brooksy Bryson thing with the Pardon My Take crowd and everybody else. He just seemed unhappy. Now he seems happier. However, when you get to this point where you get all the reactions and you get Bryson being like, there's no freaking way, and being shocked that Saudi Arabia turned their back on him and kind of left him hanging, part of you is a little bit like, what'd you think was going to happen is sort of kind of the reaction that I had. But I'm curious what everybody's reaction to kind of some of these comments finally hearing from the players has been.
My comments on the Saudi Arabia PIF side is it just seems like they get bored quickly and just swipe the funding on these sports teams. It's like, we tried it, didn't work. We're going to move on to the next thing we want to do in sports. So I'm not really sure how any of the guys thought that this was going to be a lifelong commitment from the PIF. That I read it, I was offered LIV contracts, and I always read it as they're setting it up, but they fully expect you to become profitable with this business model and for the teams to take care of their own responsibilities. And we kind of got it going, but they saw a path to making a profit or at least breaking even. And I think the writing's on the wall that that's not the case. But I want to comment further on his last quote that you haven't mentioned yet about the PGA Tour whenever you get to that one.
So this is really an incredible quote that got a lot of people going too. He said there's a few different models on the LIV future. Once again, to set the table, we are at a spot where the PIF is pulling out. Scott O'Neill, the CEO, and Bryson and Rahm, whoever works at LIV, are essentially trying to figure out after 2026, is there some sort of business model they can come up with that allows LIV to continue? Bryson said there's a few different models on LIV future. Look, the PGA Tour isn't doing great either. Let's be honest about the situation. They've got the media. They've got everybody on the side that helps pump it up, but they're reducing field sizes, cutting employees, and restructuring their business too. Kevin Kisner.
Yeah, so I find that fascinating. So the PGA Tour has a $1.5 billion resource available from SSG that they haven't used any of that money yet, plus another $1.5 billion if they use all of that and want to go back into the well. Not used any of those. They've got 46 of the top 50 players in the world on the PGA Tour. And the media ratings are the highest they've ever been. And I'll quote Adam Schupak on Twitter today and then give my dear friends at CBS some love. CBS Sports President David Burson says the network's PGA Tour coverage is off to its best start since 2015, up 12% versus last year, which was the most watched year in the last 7 years. So please, Bryson DeChambeau, explain to me how the tour is failing. Yes, they fired 55 or 60 employees that they said were not needed resources, not high-level pay employees, and just getting rid of positions that were not needed to perform at the executive level. So I have no idea where he's coming up with that information based on all the numbers I know.
Yeah, and I would say with the player fields obviously reducing, that's not, in my viewpoint as a fan, is not necessarily like a scramble to save the tour. It's more of a just making a better product in their eyes and a more sellable product going forward. I thought it was a more strategic thing than a last ditch.
Yeah, you kind of lump that in with like laying people off. You like lump that in with laying people off.
Right.
Yeah,
which like
PGA Tour's not looking for cash.
No. Yeah,
no, we don't need any funding from anyone right now.
He's on the other side of it. From our side, we're PGA Tour fans. We watch the product. We enjoy the product. We love all the players on there. We don't see as much LIV come across our desk, and that's not something that we do on purpose. It's just a matter of fact of what's catching our eye and what's not right now, and that's just a rational thinking brain would say that the PGA Tour is winning over LIV, and also a rational thinking brain would say that the PGA Tour has never been better than it is right now. I mean, a Tiger Woods list PGA Tour is skyrocketing in ratings and all these things, and you've got huge stars and Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler and all these names, Tommy Fleetwood. It's endless amount of star power right now, and it's just a guy on the other side of that that's just trying to kind of shoot his arrows, and good on him. I mean, he made some waves, and Bryson's always going to be successful too. He always says his mind. He always has his opinions, and he's always going to keep doing his own thing. And that's why we love Bryson. We love having him around. And he's going to continue to kind of dominate the YouTube side, and he's going to be one of the biggest golfers in the world. And that's unbelievably impressive for doing that while playing on a viewerless tour. You know what I mean? Like he's still the guy, and he's on a viewerless tour.
It's almost like he's trying to self-fulfill his own prophecy, where LIV, who knows what's going to happen with that? It feels like the bottom is about to drop out completely if it hasn't already. He's throwing arrows at the tour, and then he almost alluded to the future that I don't know if he wants it or that is most likely going to be his path. Is he wants to play on YouTube, he wants to grow his channel huge, and he wants to play in tournaments that want him, which would right now be the majors. So is he just going to be a YouTube golfer that plays in major championships? I don't know how that works from a qualification standpoint. Like, how long can he play in these majors before they're like, you haven't played any events that gather you any points, so you don't qualify? But it seems like he wants to be a huge YouTube golfer that just plays in big tournaments, unless I'm reading that wrong.
Yeah, that is kind of he said that before. I can't tell if he's doing that for leverage,
Yeah,
and
sure.
it's funny how things can change so quickly, but it feels like 2 months ago, I would have thought Bryson could ask LIV for $500 million for a contract extension and that he would get it, because it felt like at this point, with Brooks going back, with Patrick Reed going back, that more folks were going to find a pathway back, and that the biggest thing by far that LIV had was Bryson DeChambeau, because even though Jon Rahm probably overall going to have a better career, I would guess, but like he's just not as big a star as Bryson DeChambeau. He doesn't move the needle like Bryson. That he had all the leverage in the world. Now, when the PIF pulls out, I think we're all sort of looking at a future, and Jon Rahm said this himself. We're looking at a future where like there could be a pretty desolate LIV Golf Tour, like more so than currently for the next couple of years, that guys like Rahm and Bryson, depending on what their contracts look like, are like playing out at LIV events with complete schmucks out there, and prize pool and purses being like $3 million instead of $25 million. That very reasonably could happen, and that's a crazy change. And so I could understand Bryson saying that for a while of like, nope, I could just play my YouTube golf. I watch a good amount of his videos where he does the break course record, where he's like, yep, good thing I do all this because it keeps me sharp for when I do contend in the majors and such, which who knows how true that could possibly be, but he did win the U.S. Open since he's been at LIV, so it's hard to really argue with him too much. He almost won the Masters last year. He was in the final group with Rory. But, this came off a lot to me. It's like a guy in a corner who's lashing out a little bit. He's like, the fucking tour's not doing great either. He's like kind of like lashing out at people, which I think you put it perfectly, Frankie. And for me, as someone who we do pay attention, I don't have all the numbers. Kiz brought forward a lot more numbers than I knew about the billions of dollars and backing that haven't even been tapped into yet. For me, as an observer, we do 2 podcasts a week about it. We pay a lot of attention to the golf landscape and the professional golf landscape. To me, this is the best spot that a Tiger Woods-less PGA Tour has ever been in, and it's not really that close.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Tiger hasn't really played since much at all in the last 3 years, where all the ratings are going through the roof. You got to go back to basically 2019 to see him winning and performing at a high level, which is what basically carried the tour for the last 25 years leading up to that. And it just shows that the tour's always budding a new superstar, man. It's like a well-oiled machine that they are just gonna find the next guy. Everyone freaked out when, Tiger was hurt and not playing well, or not playing well. How's the tour going to survive without him? Well, it proves to you that it works. The model works. Rory McIlroy can take over. Scotty Scheffler can take over. And the fans are always going to be there. The support's going to be there. And it just continues to crank out this great model that has been around for 70 years.
Kiz, what's your relationship like with Bryson, and how was he during the Ryder Cup now that was his first big team event since defecting?
Yeah, I thought Bryson was the ultimate teammate the whole week. He went out of his way to do whatever he could to be like a part of the team. He was, willing to play all 5 matches, which is incredible to think about. It's a huge stress on not only your body, but you mentally trying to grind, and the hours at which you're at the golf course. He was the ultimate team guy. I'll tell y'all a hilarious story about him. Early on is when we made the team and we go to make the big group thread with the 12 players and the 5 captains or 6 captains, how many ever there were. He didn't have an iPhone, so you couldn't share videos or clips on the group thread because he had a Samsung. And so Keegan basically told him he had to go get an iPhone to be able to be on the team. Like, dude, I've got so much stuff to share with you over the course of the next 6 weeks. Like, you have to have an iPhone number, even if it's a second phone. So he goes, gets a new phone number, shares it with Keegan. Keegan doesn't tell any of us. He's just like, hey, I'm about to start the group message. Starts the group message. Everyone starts commenting. Suddenly, Bryson's not commenting. Nobody hears from Bryson. He had told Keegan the wrong number by 1 digit. So some random person in America is getting all these comments from the U.S. Ryder Cup team for about 30 minutes. And suddenly, Keegan, stops the thread. Hold up. Holy shit, guys. I think I messed this up. And so that was a hilarious start to our Ryder Cup, where some random dude across America, I think the guy even commented, if I remember correctly, like, hey, I don't know what any of this is, but good luck to y'all. And right then we thought, I think even somebody commented back like, yeah, whatever, Bryson, funny joke. And then the guy was like, no, seriously, I don't know who these people are. And everybody, no comments after that.
Dude,
a quick 20 minutes.
If the guy attached to that number is a golf fan, that's like winning the lottery.
Yeah, thank God he wasn't, right, Trent? Because if he was, he would have just stayed in there forever and just like, yeah, I'm sharing all the secrets.
For sure.
Yeah.
This guy, dude, not being a golf fan, this guy's probably like, have fun on your little golf trip, guys. Like, good luck, whatever.
That is incredible.
Damn, that's awesome. Wow.
I'd forgotten about that story until you asked me about Bryson, but I remember that 30 minutes, man. My phone was going nuts between the captain's only thread and then the player and captain's thread. And then the captain's thread's like, what do we do? I don't know how to handle this situation. I need like an IT guy. Does anyone have an IT guy that can fix this? Oh, man.
Holy
fun.
Shit.
That's phenomenal. That's just phenomenal.
Yeah, if that guy goes along with it, it's an all-time fuck up. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That could have went all the way up to Beth Page. That guy would have showed up.
Yeah. I'm here. Where's my hotel room? What number am I in? I don't really like white belts. Can I get a different belt?
Imagine telling your friends like, hey, something's going on with my phone and I think I'm in the Team USA Ryder Cup group chat. And they're like, what are you talking about? That's a great story.
17 numbers you don't know. Everybody's commenting with American flags and let's go and all this. I bet he was just like, what is going on?
So good.
That's great. It's good to hear. He's a great, he was all in. He was a great teammate because he seems like it, like during the Ryder Cup, when he hits that first tee shot and bombs it up on or near the green, it's easy for us to get fired up, but it's nice to, hear that he's in. But as much as we've debated the Ryder Cup here, it always seems to come down to like over the last 20 years, like, yeah, Europe just loves each other and they're great teammates and the United States aren't. It's sort of like a very macro like storyline over the last 20 years. And, that's obviously
that always comes from someone not on the inside.
Right.
I would be worried if someone that was in the team room like defected and said, man, this whole team room's just disarray and we don't know what we're doing. But it's always from people outside. They got to come up with a reason why we lose.
For sure. That's, we've had that conversation, I think 100 times where it's just like, why do we lose? I guess they don't like each other and the Europe does like each other. It's like what we come up with. And that's obviously not true. Bryson, a couple more, he said on the PGA Tour penalties. He said that potential penalties he would face for the PGA Tour would be, quote, quite unfortunate in my opinion, considering what I could do for them, which comes off a little cocky, but I think he's right. I think like when I talk to a lot of folks kind of outside of the golf world that are just sports, fans, buddies on my group text that are kind of tangential golf fans, I think a lot of their reaction is like, yeah, if you're the tour, you just welcome all the big guys back, right? Like, isn't that what you should do? And I guess if spite weren't a real thing, weren't like a real human emotion and reaction, the move would be to just welcome everybody back. But it'll be kind of curious to see how that goes. Jon Rahm on this front has agreed with the DP World Tour. So there was a moment maybe a month ago or so, I think it came out that 7 of the 8 players on LIV that were suspended by the DP World Tour pending them paying fines had reached an agreement with the DP World Tour. The one person that hadn't was Jon Rahm. He essentially came out and was like, out of principle, I think it's ridiculous that we've been fined, that we've been suspended. So I didn't want to come to that agreement. Now he has. A lot of folks were thinking that might just be a little bit of a window into him thinking he needs to start preparing a pathway back to somewhere else to play. And then he had some very interesting comments about his contract. He said, again, like you just said, as of right now, I have several years of my contract left, and I'm pretty sure they did a pretty good job when they drafted that. So I don't see many ways out. And as of right now, I'm really not thinking about it since we still have a season to play and majors to compete for. So it's not something I want to think about just yet. Very interesting for him to basically be like, yeah, with my LIV contract, like, I'm not playing anywhere else. This is where I'm going to be. And saying that, like, LIV did a good job of basically putting him in like contract jail, and that he's just admitting that. I found that to be very interesting.
Yeah, I found that interesting too, because like you said earlier in the show, if they're out there playing for $3 million or $2 million and Jon Rahm has to play because he's under contract, how does that work out when he's probably made $400 or $500 million over there in the years leading up to that? Is he really getting fired up to be building this brand or help trying to produce a product that people really want to get behind, or is he just out there schlepping it around on these very average golf courses against competition he's not used to because he's forced to at a contract? We all know every contract's written to be broken, and it's all about how good your lawyer is. So I would imagine when it all comes to a head, he'll find a way out of that if he wants out of it, even if he has to pay a fine. But I would love to see the day that he's playing in, some muni in Chicago against guys just out of college, and he's playing for a $2 million purse, and just hilarious.
The comments did make me a little bit sad in that Jon Rahm's 31 years old, and we're all sports fans. We love the game of golf. We want to see golf played at the highest level. Like if Jon Rahm's next 3 years are just him playing in these tournaments in a league that's dying on the vine, there's going to be a little bit of sadness to that. Like, I would love to see him in the field at the Players and in the field at all these big PGA Tour tournaments. And instead, if he can't get out of this contract, we're just going to watch him, like you just talked about, his dummy, really bad competition in these tournaments that nobody cares about. Like, you're not great at golf forever. We know that. And Jon Rahm is certainly could still be in his prime or entering it or in the middle of it. You never know. But I would like to see, as a golf fan, Jon Rahm playing in the biggest events with the best fields, just to see how he stacks up. Because when he does play in these big events in the past, before he defected to LIV, he was a guy you had eyeballs on and you wanted to watch him and you would tune in for it. And it was fun to watch because he's got a personality and he's fiery and he'll say anything at any time if something's not going his way. So I'm with you guys on the side where it's like, damn, it's going to be kind of crazy if he's playing on this tour that nobody cares about against players that nobody cares about. But the other side of me wants to see Jon Rahm play really high level golf in huge pressure situations.
Yeah, for sure. And if you look, I mean, just looking at the major championships, it's like looking at where Tiger Woods, was and won at the same time in his career. It is like laughable at what, basically during that age gap that Jon Rahm has gone through, where he's been at LIV. Tiger won the Masters like 3 times. He won the US Open. He won the Open Championship like a couple times. He won all that in that stretch from like 26 to 30, 27 to 31 that Jon Rahm's basically been over at LIV. And so to kind of think that that's going to continue to go for a couple years is devastating, because I fucking love Jon Rahm. We've done we did a couple podcasts with Jon Rahm. The one time we did it out here at Greyhawk, and just how like candid and opinionated he is. I love it. He's got that like Spanish fire to him a little bit, which he's always had. He's fun to watch play. He might like combust at any moment, and he also might win by 6 at any given moment. He's got the different swing. He's just great. I love watching him play, and I love him in the mix. I love last year when he made a run at Scotty Scheffler at the PGA Championship. And so it is a bummer, like thinking about not having him in his prime, like the way that he won the US Open at Torrey Pines, how much of a connection he has getting married right there, and how he talks about kind of that whole coastline and area reminds him of his home in Spain. And then he went out and made those 2 absolute bomb putts to win the US Open by a shot when you had Rory and a bunch of names right there at the US Open. It's like, it's just fucking awesome. And not having him, for a while, and looking at it might be even longer, to the point where he was like, I can't get out of my contract. Yeah, it was just sad. I hope you're right, Kiz, where it's like it could be figured out that he can get out of that, because it really does feel like we're destined towards, and Rahm said this as well. He said, I do believe that for the business plan to change, whatever they're coming up with, there will need to be some concessions on our part, which is clearly, heading down the road of like a much watered down version of LIV, which already isn't gaining a ton of traction. So now you're going to reduce it. These guys are going to have to make concessions. It would be funny. Obviously, people are saying it would be quite funny, and I agree with that. But it also would just be quite sad to see a guy at such a level of Jon Rahm to be like stuck playing live events and just get to pop up here and there in majors. So yeah, that's kind of the latest on the Jon Rahm situation. On Scott O'Neill, who's the CEO, he's standing firm, man. He is standing firm. I'll say he's like a well-spoken, articulate face of LIV right now when they need it. I think he still does appear to be the Titanic captain, and the windows are about to cave in a little bit, but he's standing strong. He's talking about like this is the position you want to be in, man, when everybody's like not sure how you get to, when you sit there and you reflect on challenges in your life. This is one of those opportunities that we have to really build a business. I love it. I thought it was fucking laugh out loud funny. And I also loved his comments on Bryson. He said, he's asked if Bryson will have a new contract, and he said, it's just Bryson special. He's different and special. He said that multiple times. We're probably not the greatest word choice. You want to talk about a business partner? We're literally talking about the future of LIV Golf. I'm talking with him about how does he see not just the golf, but the business. He's smart. He's driven. He's committed, and he's a heck of a partner. So credit to Scott O'Neill, who is just still captaining that ship no matter what direction it's going, up, down, sinking, left, right. He's still captaining that ship, and I kind of respect the hell out of him for it.
He's a pressure makes diamonds type of guy. He's like, I'm ready. I'm ready to do this. I do kind of wish Greg Norman was still around for this moment, and this moment in particular, just because Greg Norman was cock of the walk, talking shit when he was the head of the thing. Like he was saying anything and everything, because that was when LIV was taking guys and it was looking pretty good for their business over there. But I wish he were still in that position now, just to see what that would be like. But Scott O'Neill is doing a pretty good impression. Just like, things are great. This is adversity. I love adversity, and we're going to get through this. It's probably not going to work out, but I respect the effort nonetheless.
He's the "this is fine" dog meme.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah.
He is.
What do you think Scott O'Neill's daily routine is right now? Currently, just calling Fortune 500 companies to see if anyone wants to bail out this league.
Yeah, he's doing he's doing Jersey Jerry cold calls. He's doing his own version of that in his office. Just like, hey man, you want to fund this golf league that we got going on? And the person hangs up before he even gets his pitch out.
And unfortunately for Jerry, he made a call to Borelli's. That's how far down the list he went. And he called me. He's like, would Borelli's want to fund Bush Gaming? I'm like, if you're asking for chicken parm money, we're done here. You know what I mean? Like, we're done. You're too far gone. That's unfortunate.
You might be getting a maybe Scott O'Neill call soon.
Yeah.
Everyman Jack is just it, fellas. It's it. You need to smell good. You need your skin to be in good shape, especially with us golfing. We're putting sunscreen on. We're sweating. Our skin goes through a war out there. And you have to choose. You've always thought you had to choose between stuff that works or stuff that's going to make you, smell good. No. Everyman Jack has figured it out. They're clean, naturally derived formulas. They got none of the garbage, none of the crap that the other guys use. No parabens, no dyes, no shortcuts, and they're incredibly effective. We love their coconut-based body wash. It cleans while hydrating. Their new 48-hour antiperspirant has unbelievable glide and staying power. It's their coconut-based body wash. It's so good. I think we got Trent Ryan packing it in his suitcase when we go on the road.
I do. I put it in my DOP kit. I bring it everywhere we go. I don't use the stuff in the hotels anymore. I only use Everyman Jack. And listen, life is all about decisions. The decision you make in the morning, in the shower, is probably one of the first decisions you make of the day. And you can either make a good decision or a bad decision in terms of your health. And if you use Everyman Jack, it is a good decision. And that can launch you into a good day. So if you use Everyman Jack, it's good for your body. It doesn't have any of that nasty stuff in it. You can then prepare yourself to have a better day. And I do that every single morning in the shower with Everyman Jack. They're an incredible product.
As good as it gets. Again, most guys think they got to choose products that work or products that are better for you. Everyman Jack says that is BS because they do both. Everyman Jack, clean, effective, made for men. What more could you want? Start your new routine and find Everyman Jack at Walmart, Target, Amazon, Kroger, or wherever men's personal care products are sold. Again, go check out Everyman Jack. With an Aura frame, you can capture and relive mom's magic every single day. Add as many photos and videos as you want. Keep adding from anywhere, anytime. Add a message before it arrives. Look, Aura frames are just in. It's it. This is the deal. Kids talked about it. get his kids to want to leave the house to go do anything because they're so stuck on the Aura frame in a good way because they're scrolling through, they're looking at pictures, at videos, at messages. Aura frame is it right now.
Aura frames are it, and you can get all these different types of sizes. They've got all different types of finishes. I mean, if you go on the Aura frame website, you can get an Aura frame that looks like a photo, a picture on your wall. And as you're walking through a hallway, it can keep changing. I mean, it's a real piece of technology, It's a moving piece of artwork with all of your memories on it. Like if you're listening to this, go check out Aura Frame's website. It's amazing the type of options that they have. But if you want something nice, easy, quick, that can go right onto mom's shelf or her hutch near her kitchen, and you want to just see the grandchildren, you want to see the family, you can upload all the photos of your family right before you give it to her. It's as easy as that. Your wife, your sister-in-law, whoever the woman in your life is going to be for Mother's Day. Get it now. There's still time. They ship fast. There's still time.
Make Mother's Day special with Aura Frames. Reach #1 in the App Store on Christmas Day in 2025. Named #1 by Wirecutter, which is a huge deal. What an honor. That doesn't come lightly. You can save on the gifts moms love by visiting auraframes.com. And for a limited time, listeners can get $25 off their best-selling Carver mat frame with code FOREPLAY. That is AURAFrames.com. Promo code FOREPLAY. One word, FOREPLAY. That is auraframes.com. Promo code FOREPLAY. You can get $25 off. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
Speaking of Jersey Jerry, I saw him whoop you up on Family Feud last night.
Oh, dude, those questions were so hard. I stand by the fact that our questions were way harder than episode 1 because I was there for episode 1. I watched those guys go, and we were like answering along with them. We're like, hey, we're all hitting each other. Me, Eddie, Brandon Walker, and Mincy. We're like, we could do this. These are answerable. And then we got up there. It's like a word that is similar to your grandparents and a fruit. You're like,
that one was impossible.
You're like,
that one was impossible.
Like, what? I said ripe. Everyone was like, ew. And another one was, what can fall or go flat? You have 10 seconds to answer that.
Yeah, the fall had to throw you off because if you just heard it as flat, you say tire every time.
For sure. But also Jeff D'Lo after was like, one of the answers was a joke. I'm like, that's too creative. For Family Feud, like a joke can fall flat. Like, come on, dude. I got 2 seconds to answer this thing. A note. Like, you're telling me 100 people that were asked that didn't say a ball can fall or go flat. A basketball can go, like any ball can go flat. I don't know. 0 points.
No, the fall part of that made my brain like not. I felt like I wasn't on planet Earth anymore.
So apparently,
I didn't know, I would have never had an answer.
Jeff was telling me was that the original question. I think the people that got asked, like the people that the surveyors, they only got asked what goes flat, and he put in fall because he thought that he wanted to help us out to be able to say like a joke. You know what I mean? Like something falls flat. Like what can go flat? I don't know that you necessarily would fall.
Joke never hits my radar on either one of those.
No. Great production though. Honestly, no regrets. Incredible. Like very happy to be a part of it. It was a lot of fun. It was good. It was a really good match. But yeah, dude, I will tell you what. I mean, I used to do this with you guys when we had Barstool Radio. I used to do the Under the Gun game, right? So I was the producer, Kiz, of Barstool Radio. We were on Sirius XM. Back in the day, we were on channel like 87. It was the MMA channel. So people used to listen. The first deal we ever had with Sirius XM. People used to listen to the Sirius XM Combat Sports channel, and we were the 12 to 2 slot of that. And people would call up our radio show. It was Dave Portnoy. At that time, it was KFC, or was it Riggs? I think Riggs was later on, but I think it was KFC and maybe Tommy Smokes.
Yeah,
I think it was the first iteration of it. I'm pretty sure. Maybe it was Riggs.
Yeah, the first one. We did Under the Gun when I was the host, but the first show was KFC and just Dave.
Yeah, basically. So then people would call up and be like having takes on the late UFC fight the night before, or they'd call up and be like, y'all talking about some bullshit. Like, I want to talk about Conor McGregor.
Oh, it was so
and Dave
funny.
would take the calls as if he was the actual like UFC analyst. It was very, very funny. And then we had another show where we had our own channel, and I was a producer of that, and Riggs was the host, and Trent would come on all the time. And, we had to fill up 6 hours worth of radio as a Barstool, maybe even more as a Barstool whole. And there were times where you had nothing to talk about. So I would just, as a producer, they'd be talking about God knows what. And I would just hit this ticking time bomb sound machine. And I would just be like, under the gun, give me the name, an actress that starts with the letter L. And they'd have 5 seconds and try to be like, and then it would explode. I'd be like, you lose. And like, it was so funny that when you heard that ticking noise, your brain went to just shit. It absolutely just saw blank. I could ask you, what's your middle name? If you hear that ticking noise and you're live on air, you got nothing. So it was very funny to have my ass in the jackpot. And I'm like, because when you're sitting on the outside and the lights aren't on you, you're watching the other people go in episode 1. You're like, that's the easiest thing of all time. Like, just answer the question, And then you're under it. You're like, I don't even know what my name is up here.
Dude, funny you say that about your brain turning off when you hear that sound, because one of the funniest things a sports psych told me a long time about golf is like, everybody that's playing bad golf always stands over and goes, all right, don't hit it left. Don't hit it left. And then where do you hit it? Left, obviously. And so he said, it's a funny little trick you can play on yourself. Your brain doesn't understand the word don't. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, don't think about an elephant. And I was like, oh, what did you think about an elephant? He said, so why you even tell your brain don't hit it left? You might as well just say, let's hit it down the right here. And it just amazing that I've told that to thousands of people, and they're like, wow, never thought of that.
Right.
That elephant thing got me, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so fun because every day I've been saying to Frankie boy, I said, what noise does an elephant make? Every day. When you said that, I literally, it was like, there's that thing. I don't know, it was that, what's that thing where like you can like, a dog does something to just a noise. Like I almost went, just
Pavlov
when you said the word
dogs.
There's like, there's a word for
it's
it.
Is it the Altoid scene from The Office?
Pavlonian syndrome or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. When he rings the little thing.
Yeah,
and
one Altoid.
Altoid.
He's exactly right. When you said elephant, I went in my head.
But I told you don't do it. Don't do it. You
true.
did it anyway.
I know. Yeah, that's very true. Dr. Brett McCabe told me to do that. Just never say don't. If you're at like a par 3, we're hitting it to the back right side of the screen. If there's water, front left. Little draw to the back right. All you're saying is positive thoughts, things that can go right.
Yeah.
Kids, did you find that sports psychologist, like, would that stuff help you out?
So I never really used like a guy to help me. I never had one at the height of my career because I always thought it was such BS that some guy just tell me to believe. Hey, just believe it's going to go straight. And I'm like, well, it didn't go straight. So now what do I do? So I never was that into it. I always used a guy that I thought more of like a life coach. And if I was struggling with something on golf, then I would ask his opinion on it. But he wasn't a huge golf guy. He doesn't have anybody else on tour, maybe a couple others. He's been working with Gary Woodland since the Ryder Cup. He helped us at the Ryder Cup with just some culture building stuff. He works with Kirby Smart at Georgia. That's how I got to know him. So when you hear Kirby Smart say something after the game on ESPN to Holly Rowe, like, hey, we burned the boats, and it's about the story of burning the boats. We're not coming back. That was this guy's theme of the week. So he does that every week with Georgia football, and he's great at just life help and helping culture build and team building and all that stuff.
Interesting.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, that stuff is cool, especially in a team aspect of like seeing how much just the way that you speak or whatever that like whatever your theme is for the week, how it can take over a whole entire team. I just saw that with this I think it's an OHL hockey team, but the Islanders have this huge prospect named Keyshawn Aitchison, and they won a playoff series, and him and his coach just sat up on the press table and they respond to every question. Nobody cares. We're moving forward to every question. And everyone was like, that's kind of like a dick thing. And there was a whole story behind it. They didn't let more people sit up there with them that deserved to be up there, like the MVP of the series, whatever. So the coach just said, we're going to answer every question. Nobody cares. Just keep moving forward. It was absurd to hear every question. But even Keyshawn Aitchison, who's like this young kid, he bought into it. It was cool. It was like, that was his mindset. Nobody cares about the first series. Yeah, we swept or whatever. We're just moving forward.
Have you ever been to a Hoopy Match Club in Georgia?
No.
They have on all the coasters in the bar where you go after you play. You walk through the bar and get a drink, and on all the coasters it says, nobody cares what you shot.
Great vibe.
It's a great vibe, right? So
Great
we don't
vibe.
sit in there and say, oh, man, I would have shot 81 if I didn't double the last hole, or just like our boy Riggs. So
nobody cares.
Nobody cares what you shot. Let's talk about something else.
It is the hardest thing in the world to do. And like the amount of times that I've told other people that, you know, and like I have a buddy who's like a teammate in a Ryder Cup trip or buddy's trip, or whatever it is. And then when you're in that moment and you're like, whatever, you misread a 4-footer and you miss the fucking hole and you're standing over the next tee shot and it's like you should have a wall behind you. There's in no world will it help you for that missed putt to be thinking about that over any part of the rest of your life. And you're standing over the tee ball being like, I'm fucked. I can't fucking believe I missed that putt. What a you take the club back. You're like, oh shit. And it's hard. It's fucking hard to do that stuff. I remember Kiz, I think it was Shinnecock, when I was walking around with you during a practice round, and a couple of the other guys that we were with were like sharing a life coach or fucking whatever it was. And I was with you and I was walking. I was like, oh, who's this? You're like, oh, that's my swing. Who's this? And then I asked you about this other person. You're like, oh, that's some fucking con artist that's working for these fucking guys. And you said it like loud enough for all of them to hear it. It was so good.
Yep.
So good.
Pretty much did that my whole career. Told everybody where they stand at all times.
I'll tell you what, I might need a life coach if Kiz keeps texting me swing updates and swing tips and guides and lessons, because he's putting my brain in a pretzel right now. I mean, it's...
So my middle son stayed home from school yesterday, Trent, and Brittany was gone with a field trip with my other son. So I'm just sitting at the house with my son all day. And I started looking at their swing videos that I took at Shinnecock, and I just started screenshotting all the things I didn't like and telling them why. And Riggs is like, hell yeah, I'm going to the range today. This is sick. And Frankie's like, stop sending them now. My head's in a pretzel. I can't even think like you're talking about.
Well, I was like, I honestly said, I can't even fathom trying to execute what you're telling me to do when I had to read it 10 times. I'm like, if I can't understand the words, there's no way I can execute the movements. Zero. He's like, put a towel underneath both arms, get a string going from left to right. You're going to want that shoulder underneath. I'm like, bro, you've lost me at the towel. How big does the towel have to be? Is it a bath towel? Is it a hand towel? What kind of towel are we talking about? You know what I mean? Does it have to be from Bed Bath & Beyond? What kind of softness are we looking at?
He's got you building a Home Alone trap trying to fix your golf.
Dude, and I need it bad. I mean, when Kevin Kisner starts sending you screenshots, and then he goes, I think he wrote, see right here, you've got no chance. It's just like, it's over.
Yeah, you can't even complain about how poorly you hit it if this is what you've done to present the club to hit it.
And unfortunately, you were sending me my irons, which I felt like I had maybe my best.
No, it was a wood. It was a wood. I sent you a 3-wood or something.
Oh, true. Yeah.
But your backswing's nice, man. And then you get close to hitting it, and it's like some other alien gets in your body and decides to do some crazy stuff. I'm convinced from what you're trying to tell me to do, I'm convinced it's because I'm right hand dominant. And I don't even activate that. I don't bring that left arm around at all. It's like a dead arm. Everything's just throwing my right wrist at everything, just like in baseball. Just hit it with a backhand with your right arm.
I know. I can't even think that way. I should. That I like. I like.
You know how to hit a backhand in tennis?
I love a backhand in tennis. It's so nice.
Your arm's over here, but your chest is still pointed.
I'm doing it right now. Watch.
Yeah, exactly. If you do that, I wouldn't have to send you any videos. Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Great.
Now I'm heading to the range.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Speaking of that, how about all that bullshit we got on social media yesterday about that clip about us fucking preparing for Shinnecock? A bunch of losers, dude.
I was going to comment on that. Very funny.
I don't understand what they want from us. It's the same thing I've done my whole entire life. Just because we're playing Shinnecock means we have to fake who we are. I mean, I've played with Barstool Sports. I've played with Good. I've played with Grant Horvat. They all do the same prep as we do. We show up to the driving range. We hit a couple shots. We hit a couple putts, and we walk up to the first tee. Well, because we're not getting physio and massages, and we're doing cold plunges like the PGA Tour, who are playing for $10 million a week, that like we're pieces of shit and that we're not respecting the game enough.
I did enjoy that it started to turn on those people. That I saw a bunch of comments being like, if you're sitting around and you're mad at how another grown man warmed up before he played a round of golf, you're crazy. A fucking lunatic. So I appreciated that for sure. I would also like tell people like it was maybe 40 degrees and blowing 30, and I was at Sabonic 5 hours before our tee time, hitting balls for like an hour because I wanted to play well at Shinnecock. So it was just like people cannot simply watch a clip. That's just a funny difference between Kevin Kisner and us, and Kiz just being like, man, watching you guys get ready for a round of golf at Shinnecock, playing the back tees, and really just having no idea how to prepare for it and not preparing for it like a professional would to gear up for a tournament. And like comparing that to us just not having any passion for the game, that did, like, I had to respond to that. It's just like, what are you fucking talking about? It's like, are you kidding me? You know how I think we walked around Shinnecock. I might have said to Kiz 15 different times, probably to his annoyance. I was like, how awesome is this? And I was getting my dick kicked in by Shinnecock Hills. I was just like, this is the greatest thing I've ever been a part of.
Listen, man, Kiz Clips giveth and Kiz Clips taketh away. If we're going to celebrate the Nelly Korda, Millie, and all these, sometimes he's going to get one on us and it's going to go viral and people are going to be like, that guy's right. Fuck those other guys. And you just got to take it for what it is.
Yep.
True.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true.
It
definitely comes from some sort of like jealousy standpoint of like they get to play there, so we're going to try and take them down, which I totally get. I understand that that's a part of what we do.
Same.
Just it's frustrating when it becomes this whole thing where it's like not just one person, everyone's having conversation about it. It's like, what are we even it's not supposed to be about fun. We're talking about growing the game. You saw Rory on the Kelsey Brothers podcast. Did you have that in your notes? Talking about growing the game. He was happy that the Kelseys were there at the par 3 course. Basically saying that the Augusta has always pushed the envelope in terms of trying to grow the game in a lot of different ways. Some of them work, some of them don't. They've been pretty adamant about that. They've been upfront about the Dude Perfect guys going out there and throwing frisbees around Amen Corner, and that they don't work. And then now they're trying to but you know, it all comes back to just, this is all good for the game. If Shinnecock is inviting media members to go play there, and those people are the guys that were playing Eisenhower Blue and Bogey Hill, all these places, and Trent was playing St. Andrews, the home of golf in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, like, and those people are teeing off on one at Shinnecock, the same tee box that Tiger Woods teed off of and Kevin Kisner teed off of, and you know, all these champions are going to be teeing off of it in a couple of weeks. Like, that's awesome. Now, does that person need to try and take that and be someone that they're not? No. You got to be true to who you are, and you take that opportunity. You become grateful. You are respectful of the golf course, and it's an all-time moment for us. Because I didn't hit enough golf balls? Come on. I got Shinnecock hanging in my garage right now.
Right. 100%. Dude, I spent the whole night before. I watched a flyover of every single hole at Shinnecock twice.
Ridiculous.
Because I was like, all right, baby, here we go. And then went out and, you know, obviously got my dick kicked in. But I also, one of my favorite parts about that clip too is I think it's just apparent. I would like to talk, and obviously I got annoyed by it too. I was responding to people and just being like, you know, whatever. I felt like I had to respond. But a big part of that too was just like, I think a huge takeaway from that is Kiz is immediately able to identify the fact that we just don't even know how to prepare. Like, if I got there an hour and a half early, I wouldn't even know how to do it. I've done it before. We do it on golf. We did it at Shangri-La. We get to the range. Our tee time's at 11. We get there at 10. And by about 10, 11, I'm like out of tricks. And I'm just like, all right. I mean, you know, I've tried this with my backswing. I've tried that. I've taken 20 swings. I hit 5 drivers. Nothing that happens here in the next 45 minutes, if I stay here, is going to like more prepare me for this round. Like, this is what it is at this point.
I also appreciate when you guys hit drivers on the range and you'll hit 5 of them and 4 of them are just complete dog shit. And then you'll stripe the last one and say, all right, I'm ready. Yep. I'm ready. And I'm like, dude, what? I'm in full panic for you. I'm panicking for you, because if you hit one of the previous 4, we're not finding it. And y'all are just so jacked you striped the last one. You're ready to go.
Exactly what we do. That's exactly what we do.
The funny thing is if you take that clip, and in that clip, Kiz is saying, yeah, these guys got there 2.5 hours before. They're warming up. They're going through their whole bag. They're putting for an hour. People will be like, all right, take it easy, dude. You're not on the PGA Tour. Like, you're going to go out there and you're going to shoot 105. So, it is what it is.
Right. All that for a 97.
Yeah.
Right.
Trent, you really invited these guys out there hacking it up on the driving range for 2 hours to shoot a 97?
Tell them what you told me, Trent, when we were walking down 1 or 2. You were like, I tried to watch this on my computer last night.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to watch a flyover as well, Riggs. I wanted to get a look at it. I had never played out there before, so I was like, I want to get a look at this golf course. And then a couple holes in, because they sort of the video that I pulled up gives you tips on how to play the hole. And on one of the holes, it's early on, it says you got to hit it 285 yards, carry it, and you'll get to the fairway. And I just closed my browser. I got out of there. I was like, I got no chance. This is not helping me. I'm going to see it tomorrow in reality and deal with it when I'm standing on the tee. When it was like, that's what you got to do, I was like, click, I'm going to bed. See ya. It's a hard golf course.
He told me that walking down the first hole. I just could not stop laughing and watch it. I could just see Trent going, yeah, I'm done with this.
That's it. All right. It's late. I got to go to bed.
Golf is hard, but protein is easy with one Reese's Peanut Butter Lovers, made with 18 grams of protein and 3 grams of sugar. This is the snack. This is the go-to snack, go-to protein bar. Look, we know protein are the building blocks of life, especially as we get older. We're trying to, we're trying to get that good stuff in us to keep our bodies moving, building, recovering, all of that. The fact that one has figured out how to combine the incredible flavors, the iconic flavors from Hershey, including the Reese's Peanut Butter Lovers, with 18 grams of protein. It's just, I put it in my golf bag. You throw it in the cooler when it's hot out with the ice so that it stays cold, and then you bite off a chunk of that. I put it in my backpack for flights. I have one after I play hockey games so that I could just get that protein back in there and rebuild those muscles. The one protein bars are they're just the best.
I didn't eat breakfast before we played Shinnecock Hills the other day, and I ate a 1 bar while we were playing, walked 17,000 steps, however many miles that is, and it had me covered. I wasn't hungry. I was full. I was playing. I was walking. I was exerting a lot of effort, but I ate a 1 bar and I was covered. And that, if you're out there playing golf and you need something to eat and you're not near the halfway house, or you're like, it got mixed up and you didn't have any food, eat a 1 bar and you will be covered for the rest of the round. It's a great golf course snack. It's perfect.
Just gets the job done. Really does. Tastes good, fills you up, gets you moving. Simple as that. Love it.
Only the one Reese's Peanut Butter Lovers is made with Reese's Peanut Butter. Protein perfected. Buy one Reese's Peanut Butter Lovers protein bar on Amazon. Protein perfected. Link is also in the episode description. Again, buy the one Reese's Peanut Butter Lovers protein bar on Amazon. What if you could add an AI assistant to your work without leaving your work flow? Built into Microsoft Word, Excel, and Outlook, Copilot works where you work, helping you do more in the apps that you already use. You don't have to learn new stuff. You don't have to go trying out new apps. You don't have to overhaul your whole workflow situation, what apps you like to use, et cetera, et cetera. You get to help, again, do more with an AI assistant in the apps that you already use in Word. Copilot helps turn scattered notes right into a first draft in Excel. It generates insights from all the data that you've already compiled. And in Outlook, it cuts through the noise to get you up to speed faster. That's probably my favorite one. Again, you don't have to comb through everything. You don't have to come back from a day out on the golf course. Or for us, it might be a couple days out on the golf course filming, doing podcasts. You look at Outlook, and you've just got an absolute mess on your hands. It can cut through all the noise to get you up to speed faster. That is, again, Microsoft Copilot. The apps you know, go further with Copilot. Learn more at m365copilot.com/work. Again, we've been loving Copilot. We've used it in a bunch of different realms before, and the fact that you can add that AI assistant to your work with Microsoft Word, Excel, and Outlook, it's awesome. Learn more once again at m365copilot.com/work. Rory had a great comments on New Heights with the Kelsey brothers. He said, like, I loved that they had ESPN had you guys out there, and then he went further on it, and he essentially said, that they started laughing about the shrink the game, which we might be the pillars of shrink the game. We get shrink the gamed all the time on aggregate accounts that go after people that do what we do, and that was, of course, one of the big shrink the game contingencies. That was like their Super Bowl, was when the Kelsey when they were running around the par 3 contest. Rory said he loved it, and then Rory did. He gave Augusta National a bunch of credit, which he's right. I mean, Augusta National, I'll never forget when Augusta approved on the original golf game in like 2011, 2012. They approved Augusta National to be in the game. I remember, like, taking that day off from life and getting that game and then just playing Augusta over and over and over again on the video game because it was so cool. They did the Dude Perfect thing. They did the Drive Chip and Putt Championship that is like 10, 15 years old now, where they do that on Sunday before the Masters starts. Obviously, the Augusta National Women's Amateur, which you have some top tier amateur women. There was a year recently where like a major championship on the LPGA Tour and the ANWA lined up, and you had amateurs that had gained eligibility to play in the major championship that were choosing to play in the Augusta National Women's Amateur, even though it was only like 3 or 4 years old at the time, because they've been very forward thinking to trying stuff to grow the game, which you wouldn't think because of how old school and traditional and no running and the whole thing Augusta National is. So I loved that Rory made that point. And then another big thing that came off a little bit where I was like, well, you've made some comments against YouTube golf before, but he said that when it comes to growing the game, he was like, what we really need to do, and what we mean by that is like, we need to get people to participate in the game. And he was like, and we need it to get younger. He's like, we need younger people to start participating and playing golf, because if young people start getting into golf, you have them hooked for life, and you have a golfer that participates, that watches, PGA Tour golf on the weekends, who goes and pays for a greens fee or two every single week, who buys a new set of clubs every 3, 5, 6 years, who's buying a new pair of shoes every, you are contributing to the game and growing the game dramatically if you can get younger people to participate. So I thought he made some great points about that, which again, I thought was a little bit in contrast to him really shunning YouTube golf whenever he's been asked about it dramatically, which I think does a pretty good job of all the objectives he was talking about. But all in all, I thought a great appearance from Rory. And then another big takeaway I had from his press conference today that I just saw is he said, the quote card that came out, that Rory said, "I'm more motivated after winning at Augusta this year than I have ever been," is what he said.
Kind of scary.
Very scary. And I got that sense. You could feel that after he won that. I watched the entire press conference in real time after Rory won that Masters, and it was such a different feeling to last year, where last year he won. It was pure relief, not joy. He talked about that. And then he was weird as fuck for like 3 months, man. You remember that? He was like at the PGA Championship, he was weird as fuck. He wasn't doing media. At the US Open, he like wasn't doing media. And you're like, dude, you just won the whole thing. You should be, everything off your shoulders, dominating. Let's go. Rory's freed up. Feels like it took a year. And now he sort of feels like the guy that I thought he was going to be at the end of the Masters last year.
We had a real conversation on this show saying retirement is on the table for Rory McIlroy after he won that Masters.
That's right.
Because he was very strange for a while. And yeah, now it seems like he's motivated. And if that's true, look the fuck out, because that can get crazy.
Yeah, I watched his clips on his practice round yesterday, and they're just bombs over trees and just carving iron shots in there, hitting it both ways. I thought it was a hell of a marketing ploy, and also just showing that he hadn't just been sitting around celebrating a Masters win for a month. He's coming back out, and he's picking his spots too. He didn't play last week at Hhow. Who knows why, but Rory does what he wants to do. And when you get to a level like that, that's like Tiger Woods-esque when he just decided when he would play because he knew he could win there. And it's fascinating that Rory's to that point in his career where he's picking and choosing. And if he's as motivated as he says he is, he's definitely got the talent to dominate for the rest of the year.
100%. And another name that is, I know we touched on it briefly, but Cam Young has not finished outside the top 3 other than one time in his last 5 starts. Arnold Palmer Invitational, he finished tied for 3rd. Players Championship, he won. Masters Tournament, he finished tied for 3rd. RBC Heritage, tied for 25th. You could talk about that as like a little bit of a hangover. Plus, it's a little bit of a placement golf course. He drives the ball better than anybody, whatever. And then Cadillac last week, he won. So Cam Young is an absolute problem right now, but I agree with you. Nothing strikes fear, I think, in other players out there right now in any way close to what like a Tiger could do or what a Jack could do at times, like Rory McIlroy. I just think we've always talked about his ceiling is just higher than everybody else's ceiling. Of course, Scottie Scheffler's making a great case that that's not true over the last 3 years, but I still just think with the firepower that Rory has, Scottie said last week that Rory is the best driver of the golf ball he thinks he's ever seen. And when you have a motivated, focused Rory, who now comes with this combination of like relieved shoulders that he's never really had since we started doing this show. Felt like he had that in 2012, 2014 when he was kind of racking up those 4 majors. And then he didn't really have it for 10 years. It built up the opposite direction. It built up tension. It built up where he just was coming up a stroke or two short by missing a couple 2-footers, making mistakes, whatever it might be. He hit every single green in regulation at the old course and had 36 putts and just couldn't quite get it done. Now, the fact that he is as motivated as it sounds like he's ever been, he's in phenomenal shape. He's roasting the golf ball. I'm with you, kids. I was mesmerized. I think it was TaylorMade who posted it, where they just do every single swing, basically, of Rory. And, like, I thought he was doing a Mac Boucher trick shot, and he's just hitting fucking bombs over trees out at Quail Hollow, where it's like his home course. He loves that place. He just seems like he's a goddamn problem right now.
Yeah, that tee shot he hit on 11, or just where he aimed, is where I always tried not to hit it. And he's just aiming there and saying, yeah, I'm going to make all these trees and those bunkers my bitch, and I'm going to flip a wedge in there. And kids, you can toe hook it out there in the right rough and then lay up with a 4-iron, and good luck. I'm going to kill you. So that's why I'm on the podcast with you boys now. But what a trio, man. You used to talk about Cam Young. You talked about Scotty. Talked about Rory. What a trio we have to watch for the rest of this year, just going at it, because everybody thinks Scotty's not playing great because he's not winning, but he's finishing second every week. Talked about that earlier this week. Rory's obviously playing the top of his game. Cam Young's on a heater. So if those three continue this out through major season and through the summer and into the playoffs, and it's going to be an incredible rest of the season. On that note, one of my guys that I'm most disappointed in this year is Mr. Tommy Fleetwood. I thought after he won the Tour Championship that he was just going to go on a tear. He finally got it off his back that he was never won in the U.S., and I just had extreme high hopes for him all season. It's not like he's played horrible, but I thought he would be in that trio throughout this 26 season.
It's true. Yeah, we haven't talked about him, and I think there was a lot of hype going into the year about him, especially Ryder Cup too. He played well. Yeah, I thought for sure Tommy Fleetwood would be on a heater right now. And I was going to bring up Scotty because there's been a lot of talk about him not being Scotty, but are these finishes just the odds coming back to earth a little bit more? Like, the game of golf is so hard to win because you can't play defense. We talk about that all the time. He's playing well enough to win the Amex, finish T3 at the Phoenix Open, T4 at the AT&T Pebble Beach, and then second at Masters, playoff second at the RBC Heritage, second at the Cadillac Championship. That's playing well enough to win every single week. It's just the odds are there's a guy that just happened to play better than you, one guy out of the whole entire field, which we said is amazing. It doesn't happen more often with Scotty. When he was winning 7 tournaments a year, you're like, how are you getting lucky enough that no one catches fire even more than you just that 1 week? And he was finishing top 5 every single time he played. Like, this is just the odds just kind of coming back down to earth a little bit, that these T2s, these playoff losses, second place at Cadillac, that's just, you can't win every single tournament you play. And he's playing well enough to do it, though. And people aren't giving him that credit.
Yeah, I agree with that. I very much agree with that. I think Scotty's playing great, all things considered. I think he's not doing great for my bank account if we're DraftKings Sportsbook focused show at this point. But second place, if you're Scotty Scheffler, I mean, it's not like he's playing horribly. He was right. I mean, if that putt on the 17th hole of the Masters tournament, which looked like every putt that's ever gone in ever is doing what his ball was doing and just didn't go in the hole, with the way Rory hit that tee shot on the 72nd hole, like, I think he wins the Masters tournament, which is so close. So it didn't, and Rory won. But point being, like, he was that close to winning the biggest tournament that we have in the world of golf. He's finished second 3 times in a row. Yeah, he won Amex to kick off the year. I think Scotty, I think Kid's right. It feels like a big 3 right now. Winning still is winning, and it does come down to a stroke or two. And Scotty's kind of put himself behind the 8 ball a little bit. Feels like he hasn't, teed off with the lead. He hasn't been close to going wire to wire really outside of the Amex. And so I do think it feels like a big 3 right now. Like, when they tee off at the PGA Championship next week in Aronimink, it feels to me like Scotty, Rory, Cam Young, you could put them all at the same odds for me, and I wouldn't think that you're off on the odds making. It feels like any 3 of them could win at any given moment. And to go further on the Tommy Fleetwood thing, Kiz, I agree with you, because at the end of last year, dude, Tommy Fleetwood went second at the Travelers Championship, Scottish Open and the Open. He had okay finishes. Then he went tied for third at the FedEx St. Jude, tied for fourth at the BMW, and then won Tour Championship. So it wasn't like he won kind of out of nowhere. He was right there every single week. It felt like he should have won 4 times. He got over the hump, and then to change that to this year, he had a couple good top 10 finishes to start the year, but he hasn't finished better than tied for 23rd in the last month, which I think is very shocking. His last 3 starts, he's like 23rd or worse. So I'm with you. It just felt like he was on that trajectory with the way that he strikes the golf ball, where he was never going to be outside the top 15. So yeah, I agree. I'm a little disappointed with Tommy. I think that's a fair call out.
Yeah, we've covered him at NBC, obviously all through playoff events, and it just felt like this guy, as soon as this gets off his back that he won in the U.S., it was going to be like Rory McIlroy winning the Masters, and he might win every Masters from there out, and Tommy Fleetwood might win 6 in a row. So I just kind of had that in my head, and then throughout this season, it's now May, I'm just shocked that he hasn't had a chance to win a golf tournament throughout the season.
Right. I completely agree. And we love Tommy Ladd, one of our favorites, one of our absolute favorites.
Oh, yeah.
He's the best.
He's the fucking man, dude. So we're rooting for you, Tommy. We're disappointed because we're demanding of you, Tommy. You know, we're like, that's sort of where we're at. Last thing I got on my sheet is Nelly Korda. She jumped on the McAfee show and went pretty viral with her Coca-Cola swing tip, which I thought was phenomenal. Saw a bunch of people now trying it. I'm going to go out there and try it on the range today. But, you know, McAfee and then we're going through. McAfee's a golfer, by the way. He's a pretty damn good player. He's done golf stuff forever. Even when he was at Barstool, he was doing a little bit of golf stuff. So I like when he delves into the golf world. But they're talking about, he basically was saying what we all think, which he was like, your golf swing is perfect. He was just like, just watching it, just playing clips, B-roll of your golf swing on this show is awesome for everyone because your golf swing is perfect. And Nelly went on to say, if you had seen my golf swing in 2013, I think she said, or whatever the date was, she's like, it would make you puke. My golf swing was horrible. And she said, the main key that I've kind of been taught that really got me to where I'm at is tempo, tempo, tempo. And she said, the swing drill, the thought that she's kind of had forever is just Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is what she said. And boy, did it get everybody going. Unbelievable free ad for Coca-Cola. But shout out to Nelly, who I follow her on Instagram too. And it was like she won the Chevron. She won again this past weekend. And then on Monday, she's just posting Instagram stories of her looking like she's like in the Caribbean. She's like out on in a pool, just fucking hanging. She's doing the McAfee show. But loved seeing her get some love from like mainstream, big time sports media. And she had a great little Coca-Cola tip that went viral.
Mine's more like Sprite. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
First tee, sure. Heart pounding. Stepping over there, got my happy feet going. Just Sprite.
I was also thinking, Frankie just deleted every text message that he got from Kisner yesterday, and it's all Coca-Cola now.
Oh,
yeah, he was over there rehearsing it. I watched him rehearse it as Riggs was talking. He's trying to do it in his office there. I also appreciated what she said. You know, she has to relish in her success and appreciate and be good to herself more because it is so easy when you're playing and you're playing well. All you want is more, and I've talked about it on the show before, and you don't ever sit down and be like, man, it's pretty good. I've won 2 times in a row on the LPGA Tour. Like, pat yourself on the back a little bit, build yourself up. One of the things I remember sending texts after winning tour events like, hey, I got to get better at this shot. I didn't like the way I hit this on Sunday under the gun. I'm ready to get to work, and you just kill yourself working that hard at it after going through winning a golf tournament. So kudos to her. Maybe that little lull in her career, you know, put some perspective on it, and she's able to appreciate her success more, and it'll only help her in the long run.
She's amazing. She's just, when we get to do videos with her, it's the coolest thing in the world. She's so down to earth, and she's a superstar. And God, can she hit the golf ball?
Yes, she can.
When you hear that Coca-Cola thing, aren't you more like Coca-Cola because you want all that force coming down, and then after it just kind of flutters that way? Weren't you telling me that? Like you want it to be as right? If it's the same force,
she's doing backswing to impact. I think. I don't think she's doing backswing Coca-Cola. I think she's doing Coca-Cola.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's all to impact.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I don't know any tour player that's like, I'm going to Coca-Cola it all the way to my finish.
See, that's interesting though. That's an interesting tidbit because is it Coca-Cola or is it Coca-Cola?
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Well, that's a huge difference for everyone at home. Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola.
Oh, I like number 2.
So do I.
I think it's number 2.
Wouldn't you have thought number 1 before I brought it up though?
No.
Okay, interesting.
I wouldn't have. I really because I used to do, dude. I used to do when we would do Breaking 90s. I mean, that took like 4 years. But I would at the end when I was finally starting to get it, I would do Freddie Couples.
That's right.
And I would just think about him because it worked for a month, and then I shot 105, and it didn't work anymore. But I always thought Couples was at the bottom.
You think she's saying that in her head as she swings?
I don't think so. Probably just in practice. But who knows? We all are crazy in our own right. However we can get it done and whatever works, man. I'll do anything.
Kids, this is going to be in the video, so I don't want, people will watch it. So it's nice to get all your tips out there to as many people as we can. But there was one that you were giving me that you're saying I was throwing my arms at it all the way, and it goes all the way out towards the target, and then I flip my wrists over, and because of that. And you were saying that if I just feel like I'm stopping, which we've gotten this tip before, the abbreviated follow through, I believe it was from Tommy Fleetwood, or it was at one of those TaylorMade Media days, where it was like, if you're not flushing it on the range, just feel like you're stopping your swing after you make contact, and it'll start to flush it. What's the reasoning as to why that starts to flush it? And I think you were saying because if you're stopping all your momentum, you can't have that force to push your arms out, right? Like by stopping your momentum after making contact, it's forcing you to go around your body more.
Well, you're holding on to a 4 foot or 3 foot long stick, right? And the thing that hits the ball is at the end of the stick. So if everything just keeps moving together as fast as possible, you never transfer any energy to the part that's hitting the ball. So at some point, the grip has to slow down and the club head has to speed up to make the transfer and energy happen. So all I'm trying to do is make you slow down the handle because your handle goes the fastest away from you through impact instead of slowing down so the club can work around your body.
And just thinking that way,
right?
What does it actually do to the club face? It doesn't let it kind of turn.
Yeah,
right?
It stabilizes the face because when your arms run away from your body and your wrists start rolling, the club face turns over so quickly that you have nothing. Like the face starts here, right? If you're looking at, so if I start rolling my wrist, look how much face I have to hit it with.
Mm-hmm.
I want that face to go through there as square as possible to every time, so I have the most face to hit it with.
It's amazing because it makes so much sense when you talk about it that way, but when you text someone, so I was talking to Greg Giannotti from Boomer and Geo, and he's like, I was sending him videos from us at Sabonic, and I was like, dude, his game, I sent him that one video over the water on the par 3, hit it to the right behind the stick, and he's like, wow, flushing it. I'm like, kids told me to stop swinging after I make contact. He's like, well, you definitely follow through. I'm like, it's more of a thought. It's a feel versus real thing, and what it does is this, and I was explaining it, and he's like, that kind of really makes sense. Where at the end of the day, you're not forcing through it at the end after contact, which if that's happening from here to here is a disaster. If there's that much speed after the ball's being hit.
Right.
Yeah, I would challenge you, especially on your wedges, because you have a terrible low point, which means the club's never straightening out at the right time. Because you want your low point where you're making contact with the ground of the ball to be the same every time. So you need to try to stop at impact with your backhand feel. Whoosh, pow. Yeah.
Awesome.
It is Tommy. Tommy does that on every swing, dude. He legit does it on
Can I
every
do that
swing.
with a driver? And he just responded, Tommy Fleetwood. I was like, all right.
Yeah. Tommy does it all the time, every time.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. It makes a ton of sense. That was the exact tip that Padraig Harrington gave me last year when we filmed with him down at the Cologuard Classic. And he was like, that's the one. He's like, I got your grip. And then he was like, I would advise you just swing like Tommy Fleetwood. He was like, because you're not at your fastest currently at the ball. Your handle and the club face are going together after the ball. He's like, that's not what you need. It's like, damn. So we'll try that in the range today, kids. I'll update you with swing videos.
Please do. I got no videos from either one of you yesterday, so I know you didn't practice hard enough to send me one. So I'm a little disappointed in the time and effort it took me to send you all those clips. And then Frankie doesn't even know what it means to put a towel under both arms. Just grab your damn golf towel off your bag and stick it under both arms and hit a ball.
I was outside pulling weeds in the front yard. We've lost my front yard grass. I've got this machine. I got this thing. You stick it in the ground. You twist it. You pull out the weed. I looked like ridiculous out there.
All right, I got to go tee off, boys. Again, this is a Wednesday again. I'm going to go play golf. I got to get ready for the Colonial.
You guys got a
Yes,
PGA Tour event.
20 days out.
Holy shit. All right. Well, we're done here. We are done here. Thank you, everybody, as always, for listening. We appreciate it. Ryan Richson crushing it yet again with the clips, with the YouTube version. Make sure you go subscribe to the YouTube channel. A lot more people are watching it these days. It's the Kevin Kisner effect. He's saying more interesting things. He's looking better than we are, the whole deal. So we appreciate everybody watching on YouTube. All of our sponsors, we very much appreciate you. Everyone have a lovely weekend watching out at Quail Hollow. It's a staple on the PGA Tour, the great state of North Carolina. We love that place. So show it some love. Enjoy the event. And then next week, it's Major Championship Week, PGA Championship. So we will be back on Tuesday. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.